Tonight we have a very special edition of my comedy showcase. I hope it all goes well. I've had a terrible week. This has got to break my run of bad luck because I've had no luck. Monday, I stepped into the road to avoid walking under a ladder and got knocked down by a van carrying Lucky Charms, which had swerved to avoid a black cat. Tuesday was bad. My tropical fish died. I overwatered them. Bad afternoon, my American Express card left home without me, and I bought a hairdryer that sucks. There's another line to that joke, but I'm too classy to use it. It got terrible. It was getting me down, and I sort of went a bit demented. I decided to try and end it all. I tried jumping off my roof, and they called the police to talk to me. And the policeman said, "Ready? Steady." Last night was a corker. All the gadgets in my house are controlled from a master switch. So I set the video last night. And when I came home, it had recorded all the programs from the washing machine. Wait, it was the best night's viewing I've ever had. 11 programs, and Terry Wogan wasn't on one of them. Tremendous. Because I missed the news, but who cares? I mean, the news... It's always the same old faces like Ronald Reagan. I say old. I read where Reagan said old age is all in the head. Yeah, with hair dye, contact lenses, false teeth, and 2 decades, where else would it be? He's a clever old stick, that Ronnie Reagan, though. He even keeps a pencil and pad beside him in case he wakes up during the day with an idea. He's got to be sharp to keep up with that new Russian leader, Gorbachev. Did you read that speech last week by Gorbachev? Gorbachev said the essential difference between Russia and the West is that the West treasures its money while Russia treasures its people. Yes. So we lock up our money while Russia... I think on the whole, we're better off with our own politicians. Mrs. Thatcher, she's got a sense of humor. You've got to admit that. She calls her dog Ponting because he's only got to see a newspaper and he leaks something. That's for Nigel Lawson. Hey, I don't want to worry you, but I hear Nigel Lawson has put the country in his wife's name. It's possible. It's possible. Nigel Lawson, the only member of the cabinet who looks better on Spitting Image. Hey, wait, he's getting tougher. Have you heard about the sneaky way the government's planning to cut back on the National Health Service? From now on, they're only going to recruit Jewish doctors, so the hospitals will be forced to close on Saturdays. Yes. And with Jewish doctors, there'll be even more cuts in the private sector. I hate going to see my doctor. See, I've got a doctor who's weird. He's weird. He gave me a kiss and said, "Take that to the chemist." That's weird. And it's not because he likes me or anything, but he said to me, "You've got a very unusual condition and I can't tell you what's wrong yet." I said, "When will you know?" He said, "After the post-mortem." Man hates me. I tried to explain my condition to him. I said, every morning I get out of bed, I go to the bathroom, I look in the mirror and I throw up. What's wrong with me? He said, "I don't know, but your eyesight's okay." If it comes to consulting him about my love life, you can forget that, because I tried it. I said, I told him I didn't seem able to please my wife. He said, "Have you considered biting her left ear while you tickle her tummy with a feather duster?" I said, my wife would hate that. He said, "You're wrong, she loves that." Well, it's all drugs and alcohol these days, isn't it? Look at the famous names who check into that Betty Ford clinic. Somebody phoned the Betty Ford clinic, asked Betty Ford the other day, "Is it true all the Hollywood stars come round?" And she said, "Yeah, if you throw a bucket of water over them." All the stuff. Dolly Parton, even Dolly Parton has gone teetotal. It hasn't helped. She still wakes up every day with a massive hangover. Before I'm finished, wait for this one. Liz Taylor has had the treatment. She's getting ready for her 8th wedding. 8 weddings. 8 weddings. Can you believe that? Whew. Her motto must be, if you can't take it with you, wear it out.
Bob Monkhouse. The quintessential quizmaster, comedian, and keeper of the jokes. Bob Monkhouse was more than just a comedian, he was an institution. For over 6 decades, his quick wit, polished delivery, and seemingly encyclopedic knowledge of jokes made him a fixture of British television and a beloved figure in the world of entertainment. He conquered radio, stage, and screen, effortlessly transitioning between stand-up, game show hosting, and comedic acting, solidifying his reputation as one of the UK's most versatile and enduring performers. But behind the confident grin and seemingly effortless charm lay a complex and driven individual, one who meticulously crafted his act, fiercely protected his intellectual property, and navigated the ever-changing landscape of show business with shrewdness and ambition. Robert Allan Monkhouse was born on June 1, 1928, in Beckenham, Kent, to Winifred, a housewife, and Alan Monkhouse, a director of a soap company. Even as a child, the seeds of his future career were evident. Young Bob displayed a precocious intelligence and a natural flair for performance. He was fascinated by the world of entertainment, devouring radio shows and films, and developing a keen interest in the art of joke-telling. His father, a keen amateur photographer, instilled in him a love for technology and meticulous record-keeping, traits that would later manifest in his famously organized joke archive. Monkhouse's early education was disrupted by the outbreak of World War II, during which he was evacuated to Shropshire. This period, while challenging, provided him with further fodder for his burgeoning comedic sensibility. He attended Shrewsbury School, but his academic interests were secondary to his passion for performing. He honed his skills in school plays and amateur dramatics, quickly establishing himself as a charismatic and engaging performer. The spark that ignited his professional career came in the form of a chance encounter with Denis Goodwin, a fellow aspiring writer and performer. The two formed a formidable partnership, crafting scripts and jokes for radio shows and other comedians. Monkhouse and Goodwin recognized a gap in the market, a demand for fresh, modern humor that appealed to post-war audiences. Their collaboration proved remarkably successful, and they quickly gained a reputation for their sharp wit and inventive writing. Their big break came in 1949 when they were offered the opportunity to write and perform a series of radio shows for the BBC, including Dry Rot and the Billy Cotton Band Show. These early successes provided them with invaluable experience and exposure, allowing them to refine their craft and build a loyal following. Their partnership extended beyond radio, as they also wrote for television performers and contributed to stage shows, becoming increasingly influential behind the scenes. In the early 1950s, Monkhouse and Goodwin made the bold decision to try their luck in America. They traveled to the United States, hoping to break into the burgeoning television scene. While the initial foray proved challenging, they eventually found success writing for shows featuring Bob Hope and Dean Martin. This experience exposed them to a different style of comedy and broadened their understanding of the entertainment industry. Their time in Hollywood also saw them develop their own act, performing in nightclubs and honing their stage presence. Upon their return to the UK in the mid-1950s, Monkhouse and Goodwin were well positioned to capitalize on their American experience. They quickly re-established themselves in the British entertainment scene, writing and performing for both radio and television. In 1955, Monkhouse landed his first major television presenting role on Do You Trust Your Wife?, a game show that showcased his quick wit and affable personality. This marked the beginning of his long and illustrious career as a game show host. The tragic death of Denis Goodwin in 1975 marked a profound turning point in Monkhouse's life. The loss of his longtime collaborator and friend was a deeply personal blow, and it forced him to re-evaluate his career and his creative direction. He persevered, determined to carry on the legacy they had built together. In the years that followed, Monkhouse cemented his position as one of Britain's most popular and versatile entertainers. He hosted a string of successful game shows, including The Golden Shot, Celebrity Squares, Bob's Full House, and Wipeout, each showcasing his unique blend of wit, charm, and encyclopedic knowledge. He was a master of ad-lib, and was able to effortlessly engage with contestants and inject humor into even the most mundane situations. His success stemmed from a unique combination of factors. Firstly, he possessed a natural charisma and warmth that resonated with audiences. Secondly, he was a scrupulously prepared performer, known for his meticulous record-keeping and his vast archive of jokes. He kept a detailed card index of thousands of jokes, categorized by subject and meticulously cross-referenced. This allowed him to draw upon a seemingly endless supply of material, ensuring that his performances were always fresh and engaging. And finally, he was a master of timing and delivery, able to land a punchline with precision and finesse. Monkhouse was notoriously protective of his intellectual property, fiercely guarding his joke archive and taking legal action against those who he believed had infringed upon his copyright. While this sometimes earned him a reputation for being overly litigious, it also demonstrated his deep respect for the craft of comedy and his determination to protect his creative output. Beyond his game show hosting duties, Monkhouse also continued to perform as a stand-up comedian, touring extensively and appearing in numerous television specials. He was a master of observational humor, drawing upon everyday experiences and observations to create relatable and hilarious routines. His performances were characterized by their polished delivery, impeccable timing, and self-deprecating wit. Throughout his career, Monkhouse faced his share of controversies. He was sometimes criticized for his perceived political incorrectness, with some of his jokes deemed to be sexist or racially insensitive. However, he always maintained that his intention was to entertain, not to offend, and he often adapted his material to reflect changing social attitudes. Despite the occasional controversy, Monkhouse remained a beloved figure in British entertainment, admired for his wit, his professionalism, and his unwavering dedication to his craft. He was a true showman, capable of effortlessly engaging with audiences of all ages and backgrounds. In his later years, Monkhouse remained active in the entertainment industry, hosting television specials and performing on stage. He also published his autobiography, Over the Top, which provided a fascinating insight into his life and career. Bob Monkhouse died of prostate cancer on December 29, 2003, at the age of 75. His death marked the end of an era in British entertainment, leaving a void that has never been truly filled. He left behind his wife, Jackie, and 3 children. Bob Monkhouse's legacy extends far beyond the television screens and stage lights. He was a master craftsman, a meticulous performer, and a true innovator. He elevated the art of game show hosting to a new level, showcasing his wit, his charm, and his encyclopedic knowledge. He entertained generations of viewers with his jokes, his stories, and his infectious enthusiasm. He was, in short, a national treasure, and his contribution to British comedy and entertainment will continue to be celebrated for years to come. He was a keeper of the jokes, a master of the one-liner, and a true icon of British comedy. His influence can still be seen today in the many comedians and game show hosts who have followed in his footsteps. Bob Monkhouse remains, and will probably always remain, the quintessential quizmaster and a true legend of British entertainment.